Welcome to Colorado Inside Out Postgame, a special web-exclusive production here on Channel 12. Let's get a quick take on the Secretary of State's office denying Citizens United an exemption from state election finance laws for their upcoming film about Governor John Hickenlooper. Patty, this was an odd story back and forth, gets into the details of election laws and free speech and then different big, how to approach an election. What did you think of the decision from the Secretary of State's office this week?
I thought it was a good decision ultimately, but David will get into the legalities of why it probably shows that there are flaws in this law. What's fascinating now is the way we've set up our election campaign finances is you have all these shadowy groups that now can go in. We were talking earlier on the show about the ads that have come in that are pushing Tancredo, even though they're funded by Democratic operatives. Here the irony is you have the Scott Gessler's office, and Scott Gessler as a candidate, Republican candidate for governor, arguably could have benefited from the Citizens United film being made that would essentially, we understand, be an attack on Hickenlooper. But instead his office came through and said no, they couldn't do it under the current finance laws. So Gessler, who's been very unlucky in this campaign, I think he would have been the nominee if Beaupre hadn't gotten in, at least his office made a decision that was not based on his own political good.
David Copel from the Independence Institute and DU Law School. Unpack a little bit of the legal side of this for me. It was part of it made sense to me and part of it went right over my head.
Colorado's campaign censorship law is very similar to the federal one. The Federal Election Commission, which does the regulatory interpretations for the federal one, ruled that there is a media exemption in both Colorado and the federal law. And since Citizens United has now made 23 films, the Federal Election Commission ruled, oh, you guys are the media, so because you're therefore exempt from the reporting requirements that would normally apply when you mention the name of a candidate within a certain window before the election. You're not allowed to say that person's name without reporting, unless you're covered by some of these special exemptions. The Secretary of State didn't rule that way, and I think there is a very serious First Amendment argument against both their decision and the statute.
Eric Sonneman, analyst with SC2. Do you think with or without the decision that the film will exist here in Colorado?
Don't know. Maybe it goes to the back burner of what Citizens United wants to produce, given Gessler's decision here. The whole topic of campaign finance, I mean, you know, we could talk for hours on it, and obviously we're not going to. There's so much wrong with our current system. I hate the amount of money that is in politics. More than that, more than just the volume of money, I hate the groveling to big money that candidates on both sides have to do. You see now, you know, the first trip any Republican candidate for U.S. Senate or president potentially, you know, they have to go to Vegas and grovel in front of the Sheldon Adelsons and Steve Winns and a bunch of other people in the world. Democrats grovel in Colorado to their big donors. It's groveling everywhere. And to say it is not corrupting is to have your head in the sand. It is totally corrupting. But all that said, the regulatory environment around campaign finance that we've created over the last 30 or 40 years flat doesn't work. It doesn't get the money out of politics. It just chases it around to the back door where it is not accounted for, not disclosed. Candidates are no longer responsible or accountable for their own message instead of having to come through the front door. I don't know what the answer is. The current system is broken. Between the two broken pieces of it, I guess I'll come down on the free speech side of it and say, have at it. That speech at the money at some point is speech, and just disclose, require everything has to be disclosed in real time, not tomorrow but today, given the nature of current communications.
Alicia, what do you think the impact of this decision is going to be on our election and on other potential creative ideas to get election-oriented ideas out?
Well, it's pretty clear that it sets a precedent, and it will inhibit others from doing this sort of film or presentation. It was curious to me that this film actually, though, hadn't even been made, and there was apparently the legal building blocks to deny them this classification. It struck me as being very odd. But having said that, I was also intrigued that this decision by Gessler's office, with him in the race as a candidate, is really counter to the narrative of Gessler, which has always been that he does things for political reasons and for his own self-benefit and that sort of thing. And this clearly was not, because this film would have potentially damaged his potential opponent. So so glad to see it, and we'll just have to see how these things roll out in the next cycle.
That's all the time we have for Colorado Inside Out postgame this week. Leave us a comment and tell us what you think. For everyone here at CPT12.org, I'm Dominic Dezzutti. Thanks for watching.